With the addition of Playground Mode in Fortnite Battle Royale, players have been able to build the most epic and creative things ever imagined. Here are the most epic Fortnite creations in Playground Mode. Streamer Dakotas and a few of his pals made a new minigame that looks like a ton of fun. They built an entire stadium with bounce pads, and the objective is to snipe the other players while on a shopping cart. The sloped sides and bounce pads mean that you'll never stop moving. Phase Scissors might have made one of the most insane shopping cart parkour courses ever. It's one thing to make a course using bounce pads and launch pads that align perfectly, but Scissors is also able to use a shopping cart like a pro too. He perfectly times each jump by driving it after bouncing a few times. Talk about creative.
Can do this, guys. Just make sure no shopping carts are in the way. Backing up, backing up. Go. Let's go. Come on, dude. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Oh, 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 oh. Come on. Come on. Yep. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Yep. Now on this one. Second one. Go. 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 Oh! Let's go, baby! We did it!
Next up is Nirog25, who makes an impressive parkour course entirely out of bounce pads with a little surprise at the end. Before the surprise, however, he manages to bounce on 19 pads in a row perfectly. The finale is that he lands on a ramp, and when he walks up, he sees an important giant sign made out of wood. Reaching Fortnite's sky limit can take a little while, especially if you're starting at the ground and building straight up with non-stop ramps. But I Am Poquito developed a contraption that allows him to go to the sky limit in a matter of seconds. With a combination of bounce pads and launch pads, he skyrockets to max height in just under 10 seconds. Dusty Divot is pretty bare ever since the Season 4 crater hit, but Kylio decided to make it a lot more interesting with a gigantic metal octahedron. In the clip, we see him launch pad all the way to the metal containers location to get more metal, but when he launch pads back, you can clearly see just how insane his creation really is. Pokemon is one of the most famous gaming franchises to ever exist, so SharksFan71 wanted to pay tribute to the series with some awesome Fortnite art. Here we see the original 3-starter Pokemon from Generation 1, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. What makes this even cooler is that they're even colored correctly due to different materials being used. He even used Portaforts for the color green. EXD Haha makes an absolutely epic bounce pad contraption that takes him almost a whole minute to go through. It ends with him landing meters away from it, and when he turns around, we see just how big his masterpiece truly was. The storm just comes in as he shoots down all of his hard work. It just goes to show that playground modes need to have unlimited time and a save feature. Mario Kart might be hands down one of the most beloved games ever due to the natural camaraderie and competitiveness it brings. Josh BC and a couple of his friends brought this into Fortnite with a fully fledged Mario Kart course that goes all around Tilted Towers. With a track, shopping carts, and some obstacles, it looks exactly like Mario Kart. In the video he makes, he edits it perfectly with music and sound effects. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you combined hop rocks, bounce pads, and a launch pad? Mopper X2 does the heavy lifting for us in playground mode and shows the difference between using a launch pad by itself and with the other two items. The results are completely astonishing. If you use all three, you get some serious airtime. The giant wooden chair is an iconic place in Fortnite, but players rarely land there because of the lack of loot. Boss Laro must have felt sorry for the single chair, so he builds an enormous matching picnic table and 5 more chairs to go along with it. To make it even better, he puts his character on top of a tree and snaps the perfect screenshot of his work. When you place down metal, it takes a lot longer for it to completely build than it takes wood or brick. C3PO Smash took advantage of this and showed us something very creative and satisfying in playground mode. He jumps off of a bounce pad and builds a straight line of metal walls on his way down. When looking up, we see all the walls he built, and it's just so oddly satisfying. Have you ever wondered what all the loot in Tilted Towers actually looks like? Zach Nelson 4 had that same exact thought, and in a game of playground mode, he single-handedly gathers all the loot in Tilted Towers and organizes it by rarity. Interestingly, there's only 2 gold items, a thermal and a chug jug. In this clip, we see a stunt done in a very impressive way. Kaz Kirijiri deceives viewers into thinking an incredible stunt is going to happen with his shopping cart and ramp, but in reality, he just died. When he respawns, we see his true intention, and when he's gliding down, we see a giant butt meme right in our faces. You can't even be mad because it seems like it took him a while to make it. The Nintendo 64 is a classic console that holds a very special place in the hearts of millions of gamers. Real Burn Trees felt this as well and built a perfect replica of the late console's logo in the crater of Dusty Divot. The lightning in the background makes the screenshot even better. As a tribute to Game of Thrones and its massive wall that protects the realm from the wildlings that live beyond, Lieutenant Dan envisions the same thing, but in his case, Snobby Shores is the place that needs protecting. In this screenshot, we see a huge wall between 2 mountains that protect Snobby Shores from the rest of the map. In this clip, we see a player use his time to build a monumental-sized castle that is perfectly symmetrical. Check out the detail and work it took to make it when he pans around his entire creation in playground mode. It has watchtowers and a center building. Just like in Egypt, in this clip we see a few great pyramids that a few friends made near the northwest part of the map. Watch this clip when the player is gliding down to the island and we get a very good view on just how massive and awesome all 3 of these beasts are. Here, Gabo EC27 and his gaming friends decided to put their own spin on the football pitch. We even see him glide into the structure to show just how detailed and impressive the building is. The beauty of Fortnite is that nearly everything can be destroyed or built with some time and effort. Look at this next clip where players decided to destroy and rebuild one of Fortnite's oldest locations, Salty Springs. If you've ever been to a local carnival or state fair, the following video may seem a bit familiar. The bounce pads at the very end of the slide make it even more fun. Pat Stabs makes a really epic shopping cart parkour course with some ramps and bounce pads, but what really makes this funny is all of the dabbing. Towards the end of his contraption, he switches seats in the shopping cart and uses the dab emote, only for us to see a colossal dab sign built right in front of him. Combining playground mode and the replay system is a creative person's paradise, and in this case, Wickety Whack is just that person. He makes a Minecraft parody, and to those of you who played Minecraft when it was the most popular game, it's all too familiar. From the music to the building of a house and bed on the first night, everything in this video mimics the successful game perfectly. Pixel art is a really popular and creative art style, and it's very possible to make some in Fortnite's playground mode. Renegade Raider showcases this with a gargantuan 8-bit Samus creation that took him 4 attempts, totaling in at 5 hours to make. The iconic Metroid character has his colors even matching from the original video game. Tomato Town has always seemed quite bland and no one really lands there. There's not a lot of loot and it's just such a basic place. Azeroth fixed this problem by building a towering Tyrannosaurus Rex that looks like it's about to completely destroy Tomato Town. The creation would have been fitting last season when the comet landed, but playground mode wasn't a thing back then. A little minigame you can play in Fortnite is soccer with the balls and goals, but it can be quite boring and basic. Pixel 8 decided to play soccer but on steroids as he shows his giant shopping cart course that uses bounce pads and ramps. The very ending is the most satisfying though, when the shopping cart hits the soccer ball and it rolls into the goal.
Nice.
Loot Lake has always seemed to be missing something, especially with all of the water surrounding the tiny island in the middle. What's missing is a yacht or a cruise ship, and Aggie KO built an absurdly good cruise liner that nearly takes up the entire middle area of Loot Lake. Imagine if Epic Games put something like that in the lake instead of the small islands. One of the most famous video game maps that has survived through the years is Nuketown. With the tiny chaotic map being in every Black Ops game, it's no surprise that it's a fan favorite. Now of course it would never come to Fortnite, but Sleepy Bear designed a very good replica of the Treyarch map in the Battle Royale game. Even the cars are in the right spot too. Johnny Harbison shoots down a ramp with his silenced pistol. In a great chain reaction, it reveals this very important message. Celiope made a little glider course in playground mode so he could practice his gliding and landing. The course has a nostalgic feeling of Super Mario Galaxy 2, and he goes through 5 rings before landing in the end goal, where a trap is placed so he can respawn and run through it again. Lucky Landing is obviously based on Chinese culture due to the dragons, lanterns, and architecture. One of China's most famous architectural pieces is the Great Wall of China, and VazzyCow decided to replicate that and build the Great Wall of Lucky Landing. The wooden wall completely encloses the spot. The motel is a nice place to land, especially in solos or duos, because it has just enough loot to start off the game. Then you can go to Pleasant Park or Anarchy Acres. However, Zane415 thought the motel wasn't good enough, so instead he built a giant hotel to replace it. With all the windows and balconies, it sure does look like a fancy hotel. Loot Lake is pretty boring at times, but it would be cool if the water had some aquatic life. On a Reddit post, Beanbag1992 said he tried to build a giant Godzilla right in the heart of the lake, but the end result is a massive monster-sized duck creature, which is pretty fitting considering the location. Shooting out the support underneath someone's tower is very satisfying, but a Nuke 1712 took it to a whole other level in playground mode. At Fatal Fields, he builds a ginormous octahedron that is supported by a small pointed tip. He then shoots the base, only to have the entire structure satisfyingly crumble down. The pyramids are considered to be one of mankind's most mysterious and ambitious creations of all time. Well, in this clip, someone did that in Fortnite's playground mode. This incredible pyramid completely engulfs multiple points of interest. You can only be impressed that someone managed to do this all in under an hour. If you enjoyed this video, then you should subscribe to my friend's channel, Llama Drama, for more amazing Fortnite videos. This will probably be the last Fortnite video on this channel, so make sure to subscribe there if you enjoy these videos.